Hello, my name is Randy Wellbaum. I'm a student at Utah State University in a natural disasters course. Today I'm giving a presentation all about a natural phenomenon called fog. First off, what is fog? Well, it is simply a cloud in contact with the ground. So where can we find fog? Well, we can see it right here in our very own state of Utah. Top two pictures are taken from Utah State University. We also can find fog in other places, like California. And fog, it doesn't matter if it's in a large city like San Francisco or if it's in a remote national park like Yosemite. We see fog in all of those locations. We also see fog here in pictures at New York City, Washington, D.C., and Seattle, Washington. Fog also is found all across the world. Here we have, in the top left, fog found in London, England. Next to that, we have fog at the Cliffs of Moher, which is in Ireland. Beneath that, we have fog in Paris, France, at the Eiffel Tower. And then next to that, we have fog at the Great Wall of China, just outside Beijing. So we know fog can be found in a variety of places, but how does it form? Well, clouds, and thus fog, form either by air cooling until condensation occurs, or by evaporation, adding water vapor to already cool air. There are many different types of fog. Just to list a few, we have radiation fog, precipitation fog, which of course is a rain-based fog, advection fog, steam fog, upslope fog, which you'll see a lot in the state of Utah with all of our mountains here, valley fog, which you'll see at the end of that description. It mentions a specific type called Tule fog, which is specific to Central Valley, California. There also is freezing fog and ice fog. If you'd like to pause this presentation, feel free to review through any of those on your own time. Tule fog in particular, we have an infographic here explaining how that happens. First, on a clear day after a rain, the sun then warms the moist ground. With nightfall, the ground and air radiate heat upward. Air near the ground becomes colder, causing its moisture to then condense. The condensation creates a low-lying fog that becomes very dense as the night grows colder. Having lived in California in this Tule fog, it's interesting because when you wake up, you really cannot see across the street. There's days when it's bad enough that you can't even see much more than a foot or two in front of you. There's some people that tell stories of driving to work in the Tule fog with their door open there so they can see the lines on the road. Fog itself presents no dangers. It's simply a cloud. However, when visibility is reduced, it can cause extremely dangerous situations. One of those is in transportation situations, commuting to and from work. In fact, the California Department of Transportation released a YouTube video that told all about the dangers of driving in the fog. If you'd like to watch that video on your own time, the links are listed beneath, and the bottom link is also a PDF file that they put together explaining about the risks of fog and some things that you can do to try and plan your trips differently, drive slower, make sure your high beams are not on, since that would just reflect the light back into your windshield and reduce your visibility further. Things like using fog lights, making sure you pull all the way off to the side of the road. In fact, we have here Fernando, the fog frog. He keeps us informed all about the Tule fog conditions and reminds us about what we should do to keep ourselves safe when fog is present. Fog can become hazardous when it obscures visibility for travel and for other human activities. From our textbook, we're also reminded about other travel situations with fog that can become quite dangerous. Airplanes can be impacted by fog. Back in the year 1977, there were two aircraft that collided with each other, two Boeing 747 airliners on a runway in the Canary Islands. And when those two aircraft collided with each other, 583 people were killed. We also have dense fog that was responsible for perhaps the worst maritime accident in Canadian history, when 1,014 people died in a collision between two ships on the St. Lawrence River back in the year 1914. Fog can create dangerous conditions, but once again, it's not the fog itself that presents the danger. It's the visibility often that causes the problem. There is, however, another danger of fog, and this is when fog mixes with other pollutants found in the environment. There was an incident in the year 1952 in the city of London where there was a deadly acid smog crisis that killed 12,000 people. Fog can become hazardous when air pollutants are added to form smog, a smoky kind of fog, or VOG, which is a combination of the words volcanic, smog, fog. And so when you have a lot of pollution in the air, whether from volcanoes or from other instances, those become suspended in that air in a more intense manner, because it's no longer something that can just blow through and be out of the air in an easier fashion, because now there's moisture to hold things in the air and to keep it there longer. And so you'll get higher particulate levels of pollution that are found there as well. And then it also acts as a solution where different pollutants can then mix with each other. They would normally dissipate before they encounter the other pollutant, but then they just become trapped, and that's where we came into the incident in London where there was a toxic fog that killed those 12,000 individuals. Visibility was less than 1 foot. Going back to the previous slide, I neglected to mention that there is the YouTube video that just is a couple minute long, definitely worth your time to watch. It's fascinating that something as simple as clouds that then settle in on the ground, that could somehow cause 12,000 fatalities in a short span of 5 days. Moving forward again, we do, however, still have benefits from fog. There's nothing innately hazardous about fog itself. It's simply a cloud in contact with the ground. Fog provides us uniquely beautiful and mysterious aesthetic experiences. Above we have this picture here with a quote. Sometimes we need the fog to remind ourselves that all of life is not black and white. I think there's a reason that we see fog used so often in movies. It puts us in a sense of interest and intrigue and wanting to know the mystery of what lurks behind that fog, whether it's something magical or whether it's something that's absolutely terrifying. Fog, however, can also provide additional benefits. It also extends the presence of moisture. There are certain regions in the world where it would be very hard for any sort of plants or vegetables to be grown. However, even though there is not a significant amount of rain for whatever reason, because there's a prominence of fog that tends to just sit and stay there, there is able to also be enough moisture for those plants to be able to grow and to just thrive. We also have the fact that fog can help to stabilize a climate. It reduces extreme temperature variations. It acts as kind of an insulation for whatever the current weather condition is. You won't expect the day to get super hot if you have fog there that's going to help to insulate and keep it that kind of morning cool. Or on the flip side, if it's been extremely hot, it's not going to cool off super fast. You're going to have that heat that kind of stays there, which in the wintertime maybe will keep it, warmer, instead of all of a sudden that chill that just comes when a wind comes in. Instead, you have that insulation of the moisture in the air. Fog truly does create unique climates and landscapes that we would not have otherwise. Fog is a very interesting phenomenon, a completely natural occurrence. It's really wonderful being able to recognize that those clouds that we look up and admire up in the heavens, that on occasion those come down and we're able to actually walk through the clouds and be able to enjoy that entirely different perspective. I hope you've enjoyed this short presentation all about fog, and thank you so much for listening.